Good evening and welcome to the Newshour Agenda. I'm Madhavdas G. After over a year and a half in jail, it's finally supreme relief for Kejriwal's closest aide, Manish Sisodia. Today, the top court granted bail to the former Deputy Chief Minister in corruption and money laundering cases linked to the Delhi Excise policy case. When Manish Sisodia walked out of the Tihar jail, it was a massive show of strength by AAP cadre, who'd gathered outside to welcome Sisodia. Flanked by top AAP netas, including Sanjay Singh and Durgesh Pathak, Sisodia, while addressing the crowd, said that every inch of his skin has been feeling indebted to Baba Saheb since he learnt about the bail and did not know how to pay off this debt. Listen into Sisodia.
जब से ये ऑर्डर आया है सुबह से मेरा रोम रोम बाबा साहब के प्रति ऋणी हो रहा है। एक एक पल मैं समझ नहीं पा रहा हूं कि आज इतने दिनों बाद, इतने वर्षों बाद बाबा साहब के प्रति कर्ज को हम कैसे उतारेंगे। उस वक्त उन्होंने तय कर लिया था कि आने वाले समय में अगर कोई तानाशाही सरकार आके निर्दोष लोगों को जेल में डालेगी तो संविधान उसको बचाएगा।
And the apex court, while granting bail, observed that AAP leader Sisodia was deprived of the right to speedy trial by the trial court and the High Court. The top court noted that with 495 witnesses and thousands of documents running into lakhs of pages, there's not even a remote possibility of the trial being completed in the near future. And it's high time that courts recognize that bail is a rule and jail is an exception. Now, as soon as the court verdict was out, there was a wave of celebration amongst AAP leaders who branded the decision as a slap on dictatorship. Even K.T. Ramarao, former minister in Telangana, welcomed the decision of the Supreme Court and said that soon he was expecting relief for Kejriwal and K. Kavita as well. Listen into these reactions.
शिक्षा क्रांति के जनक की आज बेल हुई, आज सच्चाई की जीत हुई, शिक्षा की जीत हुई, दिल्ली के बच्चों की जीत हुई
कि इस मामले में कोई भी तथ्य, कोई भी सत्यता नहीं थी। जबरदस्ती हमारे नेताओं को पकड़ पकड़ के जेल में रखा गया। माननीय सर्वोच्च न्यायालय का हृदय से आभार है, सर झुका के नमन है कि लंबे इंतजार के बाद न्याय मिला।
जिस तरह से 17 महीने मनीष सिसोदिया जी को जेल में रखा गया, वो इस बात का सबूत है कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी और भारतीय जनता पार्टी की केंद्र की सरकार, देश के माननीय प्रधानमंत्री इस देश के अंदर शिक्षा में बदलाव की उम्मीद की जो राह है उसे कुचलना चाहते थे।
कोर्ट इस बात को रिकॉग्नाइज कर रहा है कि आपने बिना ट्रायल के किसी राज्य के उप मुख्यमंत्री को 17 महीने जेल में रख लिया।
हिंदुस्तान में आज कई सारे ऐसे केसेस हैं, कई सारे ऐसे लोग हैं, चार्जशीट फाइल हो जाने के बाद भी महीने भर उनको years on they are being incarcerated, they are being imprisoned, which is definitely wrong. I welcome the verdict of Supreme Court, in granting bail to Mr. Manish Sisodia. I do hope that everybody against whom charge sheet has already been filed, be it Kavita, be it Mr. Kejriwal, and anybody else in the case, or any other case for that matter, also will get the relief, because this is truly atrocious.
Now, on the other hand, BJP has called the celebration premature and emphasized the claim that no clean sheet has been given to Manish Sisodia by the court. BJP has also reiterated that Sisodia was not granted bail on grounds of merit, but only on the basis of delay.
7 बार उनकी बेल खारिज हुई। आज ऑनरेबल सुप्रीम कोर्ट ऑफ इंडिया के समक्ष उनके वकीलों ने मेरिट्स पे कोई दलील नहीं दी। उनकी प्ली केवल और केवल डिले पर आधारित थी। वो अभी भी अभियुक्त हैं और उनकी जवाबदेही कोर्ट ऑफ लॉ में बनेगी दिल्ली की जनता के साथ विश्वासघात करने की। माननीय मनीष सिसोदिया जी ऐसे दिल्ली के शिक्षा मंत्री हैं जो दिल्ली की बच्चों को, दिल्ली की जेनरेशन को पाठशाला से मधुशाला तक ले जाने का पाप कर चुके हैं।
जिस दिन के वो जेल में थे वो किसकी जीत थी? अरे भाई, ये पॉलिटिक्स क्यों कानून के दायरे में करते हो? अब कितने टाइम्स हर क्रिमिनल को, जो कातिल भी है, कत्ल भी किया हो, जिसने रेप भी ये किया हो, कभी ना कभी बेल तो उसको भी मिलती है। ये जीत हार की बात कहाँ है भाई?
The News Hour at 10. Debate number 1 on Times Now. Super Prime Time.
All right, let's take this across to our guest. Joining us with us is Shehzad Poonawala, national spokesperson of the BJP. Tushar Gupta, political analyst, is with us. Also joining us at the moment is Dr. Piyush Joshi, Dr. Akash Deep Muni, who's also a political analyst. Tehseen Poonawala, political analyst, also joining us, as is Ravula Sridhar Reddy, spokesperson of the BRS. Let me start with you first, Dr. Piyush Joshi. The point being made, and you would have heard Bansuri Swaraj, is this. This is what the BJP is saying. They're saying that don't celebrate. It's perhaps a bit premature, because all that the court has said is that they have granted bail on the basis of delay, not on the basis of the merits of the case. So it's not a clean sheet yet. Dr. Piyush Joshi.
Well, when are you going to debate merit and demerit of the case? You know, the merits and demerits are going to be debated when the trial actually starts. So the trial has not yet been started. So how do you expect his lawyers to debate the merits and demerits of the case? And what are we celebrating? Are we celebrating the exoneration of Manish Sisodia, or are we celebrating his interim release? Through this mediation of bail. So is it a victory for truth? Is it a vindication of our stance? Or is it something similar? No, it's not that being celebrated. It's a matter of relief for every Aam Aadmi Party supporter that finally an honest man has been let out. It's a matter of pride for all of us that he has chosen 531 days of imprisonment rather than choosing to join BJP and shake hands with a divisive party like Bharatiya Janata Party. Had it been left to the Bharatiya Janata Party and its proxy agencies like ED and CBI, they would have kept him indefinitely in jail. So it is thanks to Baba Saheb and the constitution which has been made by the likes of him that he has been out and justice has been upheld in this country. Him getting a bail and
taking that point across to the BJP, Piyush Joshi, Shehzad Poonawala, and I'm quoting the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has said that keeping Sisodia behind bars for an unlimited period in hope of a speedy trial would deprive him of fundamental rights to liberty under Article 21. Isn't it a clear case of an attempt at him being violated, or his violation of his fundamental rights guaranteed by the Constitution, as the Supreme Court has observed? Shehzad.
First of all, let me tell you that as a matter of procedure, if Manish Sisodia's bail is being celebrated as some sort of a victory, then as a matter of fact that Mr. Kejriwal has not got bail, does that mean that he is guilty as per the Aam Aadmi Party? Satyendra Jain's bail was actually cancelled. Does that mean he is guilty? I'm glad that Mr. Piyush Joshi has acknowledged that this has not been a finding on merits. It has been a finding on a delay in a trial, which in October 2023, by the way, the Supreme Court had said that if the trial goes on and lingers on, we will be inclined to give him bail. But at the same time, the Supreme Court, because you swear by the Supreme Court, at the 7th-8th attempt had said that the excise policy was formulated by Manish Sisodia, which gave windfall gains to the distributors, and this is clearly corruption. 338 crores money trail has been established. This also has been said. In March 2024 and June 2024, curative petitions and other remedies were rejected by the Supreme Court. In May 2024, the Delhi High Court said that there was a grave abuse of public authority by Manish Sisodia, that he used deceptive means to formulate the Delhi excise policy. It was a form of corruption. In May 2023, he said he couldn't influence witnesses. The trial court said that he played a pivotal role in making this criminal conspiracy, and he's the prima facie architect. So how come you choose what you like and you reject what you don't like? Secondly, my question is only this. Today, the tears came out of Atishi. Perhaps she is not going to get to do the flag hoisting, perhaps partly because of that, or perhaps because now she will have a new CM or a deputy CM to report to. But no tears came out when 10 people died due to waterlogging and shocks in basement and electrocution. No tears came out when a mother and a child was drowning in a drain which was opened by the MCD. Today the tears are coming out because we are now going to lose our prominence in the government. This is the true face of the Aam Aadmi
I was going
Party.
to come to the governance aspect in a bit, but since you've raised the point, let me bring in Dr. Akash Deep Muni. Dr. Akash Deep Muni, there are serious questions in the manner in which Delhi has been governed. in the absence of a chief minister, because Delhi chief minister continues to be Arvind Kejriwal. He, of course, cannot conduct business as usual. Manish Sisodia, whether he'll even be appointed as deputy chief minister, there's a very big cloud as to how that's going to happen, if at all, now that he's outside, if that will happen. What's the role that he's going to play? And what really are we going to see in terms of Delhi's governance? Because this has been a big charge against this government that Delhi and Delhiites have suffered, particularly through the course of this monsoon, and paying with their lives at that matter.
First of all, Madhavji, the prime question that what will be the role of Manish Sisodia ji, we all know that Manish Sisodia ji is the number 2 in the party, and after Arvind Kejriwal ji, it is Manish Sisodia ji who will be leading the party. So that should be clear. He's the tallest leader after Arvind Kejriwal in Aam Aadmi Party. Second
so
point,
more there is a power struggle. Essentially, that's what you're saying.
They can see. This is the interesting factor in Aam Aadmi Party, that we have very less magnitude of leaders. That we have so less that we have Atishi ji and Saurabh Bharadwaj ji taking care of number of departments in the cabinet. So we need more leaders in Aam Aadmi Party. So there is no power struggle here. The most important point that today I want to make, what Honorable Supreme Court said.
Okay.
The Honorable Supreme Court said that this particular trial, then this does not seem that it will be completing in coming times, and it will be going on for such a long time. This shows that the premier investigative agencies of this country, Enforcement Directorate and CBI, has not done a proper investigation in this case and gone by verbatim of people like Sharath Reddy. Now, Bharatiya Janata Party has taken 60 crore from Sharath Reddy. When will our Enforcement Directorate investigate Bharatiya Janata Party for that? Because it is ED who said that Sharath Reddy is the kingpin of Delhi liquor scam. Now, for second point is that the Honorable Supreme Court yesterday said that only 0.5% of conviction rate is with Enforcement Directorate. Now, this shows that how Enforcement Directorate has been a tool in the masters of Home Ministry and Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji. This shows that how opposition leaders are
Enforcement Directorate reports to neither the PMO or the HMO. Exactly. It comes under the ambit of the finance ministry. I'm just setting the facts straight here. I'm not going to get into a debate with you. But since you've raised 2-3 points, I want Tushar to come in on this. Tushar, one, of course, is the most intriguing answer of Dr. Muni as to the lack of leadership or the lack of top leaders. I mean, whatever he chose to put it, the way he chose to put it, that appears to be interesting because there's been, of course, a very interesting question about who next once Arvind Kejriwal went into jail, and perhaps that question is now settled with Manish Sisodia. Important because there are elections in Delhi next year, but also at the same time, there are serious questions. You can't have an unending trial, unending investigation, I beg your pardon, and no clarity on when the trial will be concluded. Those are some very fair observations that have been made by the Supreme Court in this case, raising questions on the investigating agency. Tushar.
I must thank Akash Deep Muni because he settled this one complex question for us for good. That no Atishi Marlena, no Saurabh Bharadwaj, no Raghav Chadda, no Swati Malewal, no one can even think of becoming the chief minister or the number 1 or number 2 or number 3 in the Aam Aadmi Party. The number 1 is Arvind Kejriwal, the number 2 is Manish Sisodia, and the people of Delhi are far behind in the priority list. So that's very clear from Mr. Akash Deep. Number 2, Manish Sisodia was claiming dictatorship, that this is a big slap for dictatorship. I'm sorry, but it was the same Supreme Court that granted an exemption and an exception to Arvind Kejriwal for 21 days before the Lok Sabha elections, and he went door to door saying, "आप मुझे वोट दो, ये मुझे जेल नहीं भेज पाएंगे." दिल्ली की जनता ने क्या किया? 7 की 7 सीटें कांग्रेस और आम आदमी पार्टी के अलायंस को नहीं दी, भाजपा को दी. So that was pretty much an answer to the Aam Aadmi Party's claim about dictatorship. Now coming to the trial, let's be very clear about one thing. Manish Sisodia has not been acquitted by the Apex Court. He's not been given a clean chit by the court. The bail is only and only because the court observed that he's been in jail for 17 months. And when the trial begins, he will be required to be appearing before the court. His passport has been seized. There is a bail bond he has to furnish. So there are some legalities here that the Aam Aadmi Party cannot ignore. Now coming to what the Aam Aadmi Party is saying about the court's observation, well, yes, the charge sheet has been filed by the investigating agencies. Let's be very clear about it also. The CBI has given enough evidence that there is a money trail. And in fact, in November, when the same court denied Manish Sisodia bail, they said that the money trail had been established, the same money trail that the Aam Aadmi Party says does not exist. So I think it's all about when the trial begins. This is not a testament to the fairness of Manish Sisodia or his, record as a deputy chief minister. The trial is yet to begin. He's not been given any clean check. Let's be very clear about the facts.
Okay, yeah, we've gone to that point. And I want to bring in Tehseen on one important point. Tehseen, very, very clearly, the court has observed. It has observed, of course, many things that are in favor of Mr. Sisodia, but they also say that there's no error in the judgments or the orders of the special judge or the High Court in the merits of the matter. So the Satyameva Jayate, truth will prevail kind of statements coming in from Aam Aadmi Party, is it a little early in the day?
Good evening, Madhav. Thank you so much for having me on the show. At the onset, I want to compliment Dr. Akash Deep Muni. I have never seen somebody defend their side the way he defended. I don't know which side he was playing for, but well done. Let me come on. Let me come on to the issue of the thing. Look, I heard the BJP member of Parliament speaking, and I honestly didn't make heads or tails of what she was speaking. Obviously, it was a bail trial before the court. What else can the court give? The court can only give bail. The court can't give anything else. What else can the judge give if it's a bail application? Now, in a bail application, you don't go into merits of the case. The merits of the case that was sort of argued in the trial court in the beginning, in the provisions of the PMLA, you are held guilty until proven innocent. So yes, prima facie, anything that the agencies bring in front of you is held to be you're held to be guilty about it. So what else can happen? You are held to be guilty until you prove yourself innocent, which is what we are fighting against, which is draconian in ED. So, but what the Supreme Court done has said something very important. It has said something that we should all take, you should all look at very closely. It said, look, the right to a speedy trial is important, and number two, a person should be deemed innocent. Now, this is very important. If this is the direction of the Honorable Supreme Court, and they still have the review of the ED PMLA judgment, which will come into force sooner or later, this means that what's been reversed, that you're guilty until proven innocent, will actually be turned around by the Supreme Court. So that is one aspect that gives hope to people around. The second aspect, I think the checks and balances on agencies will now come into play. The way the courts are looking at a lot of these ED cases, the way ED is, and of course it's selectively being used against the opposition, the way ED is not conducting speedy trials, therefore its success percentage is only 0.5%.
Are you saying there were no checks and balances earlier, Tehseen? What are you saying?
No, there were checks and balances, but the PMLA, the PMLA amendments brought in 2018 via the finance bill, I think those have taken away many from the ED. That was upheld by the Supreme Court. I think we'll have to look at them very, very seriously.
Okay.
But I think larger these judgment gives you one hope, a speedy trial, and you're innocent until proven yourself guilty.
Okay, there are two, three important points in what you've said. There are two, three important points in what you've said. I want to bring in Shehzad on that. Shehzad, what the court very clearly says is that the principle, somewhere the subtext coming out of what the court's saying today, is that the principle of bail being the rule and jail being the exception, it appears from this particular case that has been violated, because they come out to say that there is a right to a speedy trial and personal liberty which are sacrosanct. It can't be withheld. Bail cannot be withheld as a punishment.
Correct.
It's a very, very serious observation that the court is making.
Now, because Tehseen has slightly better understanding of law, and I hope he will not lie, I am reading you the 5th of August order of Arvind Kejriwal in a CBI matter. The Delhi High Court states, Kejriwal has been denied bail, and only after that can witnesses speak once he is arrested. Arrest is justified, it is not illegal. Only after sufficient evidence was collected that sanction was obtained and CBI proceeded with investigation and final arrest. This is CBI matter. Nothing to do with the PMLA. 1 second.
True.
Now, Tehseen Poonawalla, please tell me that by the yardstick you are applying, here there's no PMLA in question. Is this arrest justified? And is Mr. Kejriwal, because of these observations? 1 second, sir. Don't interrupt. 2. Secondly, the important point is only this, that he did not argue, as you did not understand what the MP was saying. She said that he was not arguing even on merits of the case. He was only arguing on the fact that there is delay in the trial. That's the fact that he went with. He did not even go to question his arrest. Mr. Kejriwal questioned his arrest, and the court said your arrest is perfectly legal in a CBI matter. Thirdly, if the ED is such a tool of misuse, Tehseen Poonawalla, then pray, why does Rahul Gandhi want Pinarayi Vijayan arrested under ED and CBI? And why is it that the Aam Aadmi Party's first arrest and cases were called by none less than the Congress Party? And please hear this.
मंत्री को आरोप लगने पर ही अरेस्ट कर लिया, लेकिन दिल्ली में सीबीआई की एफआईआर हो गई, मुख्य सचिव की रिपोर्ट आ गई 144 करोड़ के घोटाले की और आपने इस्तीफा लेने के बजाय ये कह दिया कि भ्रष्टाचारी
So she is talking about the bhrashtachar of Mr.
Yeah, Congress was the complainant.
Last point.
You make 2-3 points.
One last point.
Quickly conclude.
INC का press release है. Please सुन लीजिए. Last point. INC press release statement by Ajay Makan. Money trail has been mentioned. It has been found. Immediate resignation of indicted minister, Mr. Manish Sisodia is required. Still there on the press release.
All right.
Of INC.
All right. Respond to that. Tehseen.
May I respond? Forget the Delhi leader that Shahzad quoted.
Why should I forget?
Delhi leaders were the complainants.
No. I am not forgetting them. You are not coming here as third party tonight.
Okay.
You answer for this.
Let him answer.
How can he not take responsibility?
Absolutely. No, Congress is a complainant, Tehseen. I think that's a well-established fact.
Yes, can I make the point further? I am agreeing with that. If he does not interrupt me, I can make my point. I agree the Congress.
Okay, go ahead.
Am I denying it? Yes, don't interrupt me. I myself on your show, Madhav, said the Aam Aadmi Party should be investigated. I myself held them guilty. Why Congress? I myself said it. Since then, there have been a number of revelations. Now we're talking about a year and a half ago. In a year and a half, they haven't even been able to file complete charge sheets. They haven't even been able to finish the investigation. Number one. Number two, in a year and a half, apart from taking away liberty, what has now come to foray is the person who was a witness against Arvind Kejriwal actually ended up giving money to the BJP, and the BJP and the ED ended up making him a witness and an approver. That is what's come.
These are just
Circumstances
lies.
have changed from a year and a half
but this is what the court has said.
That is why today.
Yeah.
That is why today. Please, just one last thing. That is why today, I'm saying, even now, this investigation should not stop. Give them their liberty, continue the investigation, and finish in a time-bound manner. Who's moving away from the position?
Okay.
One second.
And Shahzad, you must respond to 2 points. One second. One is the bail point that I was making earlier. And this is what the court has said it's taken into consideration. The statement of the SG that investigation would be concluded and final charge sheet would be filed by the 3rd of July. And after that, the court would be free to proceed. In this particular case, there are serious questions about the trial itself and the assurances that have been made in the court on the basis of which the Supreme Court has made this decision.
Look, first of all, investigation agency, how much time it takes for completing the investigation, that is something they have to answer for. If there is a delay, the court has felt it fit that on the fact that there's a delay in the entire procedure, they will give the bail. But to say that and to expound that and to say that there's a clean sheet on merits, Tehseen Poonawala says 1.5 years ago, Congress made the statement. Sir, Channi ji made it 2 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago, Abhishek Dutt said that Kejriwal is corrupt and it cost us the election. So Tehseen Poonawala comes here, pretends to be independent, takes a stand which is contrary to all the stands taken, one second, don't interrupt, by the Congress party and gets away. Please tell me if you have understood that in 1.5 years nothing has been found and you have given a clean sheet to Aam Aadmi Party, why did the Congress leaders like Mr. Abhishek Dutt and Channi say that they are corrupt? Answer on that specific point. Are they part of the BJP's team to do vendetta politics? Thirdly, please listen to all the questions. Thirdly, I have quoted to you the CBI case where the Delhi High Court has come out with the finding. Why aren't you talking about that? Because it's inconvenient. And fourthly, why does Rahul Gandhi want to unleash the same ED CBI on people like Pinarayi Vijayan? Answer on these questions, Tehseen.
May I respond to these questions?
First answer will be, I don't know about Congress.
Okay, let him answer. Let him answer.
No, I'm not. You only ask the question, you only anchor the show, and you only give my answer. I'm giving the answer. So 2 or 3 points. Number one, why are we opposing ED? And why I think all political parties should stop going to the ED or asking for an ED investigation. Because the ED is draconian nature, and it is wrong when the Congress does it as well. It is wrong when the Aam Aadmi Party did it in Chhattisgarh as well. 2 wrongs don't make a right.
No. So let's hold on to that thought.
Let him answer. We'll complete his point. Let him complete his point.
Why are you interrupting? You're not the anchor.
I am not interrupting you.
Let him make his point.
He can't just get away by saying Congress is wrong.
We can get a response.
You can get a response. You respond to me. The ED's conviction rate is 0.5%.
That is untrue.
This is an agency that is now, when they say it's 95% and 23 of the 25 cases has got a conviction, those 25 cases were UP era cases. It's not NDA.
That is the wrong way of seeing it.
It is not the wrong way of seeing it. That is why, coupled with the draconian changes in ED, under the NDA, with these cases piling up, ED, the process is becoming the punishment without any conviction. Therefore, we need to move away from ED. Now, coming to the CBI specific charges that you made, there is a serious problem that we all need to address. Lower courts, including constitutional courts like high courts, are not giving liberty. And that is precisely the point that the Supreme Court made. Whether it be PMLA, whether it be CBI, bail, not jail is the norm.
Now let me bring in Tushar. Let me bring in.
To deconstruct.
He said, but I want to bring in Tushar.
Just said that PMLA is a draconian law.
No,
he just said PMLA is draconian. But why isn't High Court giving bail on CBI?
He's not the
because
only one
they are now
saying
suddenly
that.
getting influenced. He is making question mark on the integrity of the High Court. Is the High Court not able to give bail on matters of IPC?
He's questioning the agency. I think there's no comparing what is said by the High Court and what is being done by the agency. But I want to bring you. Let me bring in Tushar. One second. Let me bring in Tushar. Let me bring in Tushar. Let others come in. There is Mr. Sridhar Reddy who is not even spoken. You can come in. You can come in. Let others come in, please. Tushar, I want to ask Tushar. Please, 1 second. Let me bring in Tushar. Tushar, I'm quoting what the Supreme Court has said. And the Supreme Court says it's clear that there's not even the remotest possibility of trial being concluded in the near future. There's a big question, therefore, on the efficiency of the investigating agency that's coming up from the court's own orders over here. Does Tehseen have a point?
Well, look, no. Again, we are confusing two different matters here. The court is free to observe what it wants to. The court also observed that the TV anchors are responsible for all the nuisance that happens in the country once upon a time. Now, that doesn't make it a fact, right, Madhav? So
no, that is a very different context. Please don't compare this case with that. That context was very specific, Tushar. Let's not even go there.
It was wrong. No, but it was wrong, Madhav. It was wrong to label TV anchors responsible. I'm saying it was wrong. Yeah. At the same time, I'm just saying it's an observation of the court. You can't take it as genuine fact because the court has also observed that Manish Sisodia did destroy 2 mobile phones, that Manish Sisodia does claim that people do change their phones so often that they end up destroying them. So we can't take the court's observation, which is not a part of the judgment, as the gospel truth. Yes, there is a delay in the trial that was pointed out in October 2023 also, but that does not mean that the trial will extend indefinitely. How does the court reach that conclusion? And I say this with all due respect to the court. I'm saying it's an observation. It should be taken as an observation. It should not be taken to the honesty or dishonesty of Manish Sisodia. That's it.
No, but the agency's honesty or dishonesty or speed of investigation is coming under question. Let me bring in Mr. Ravula Sridhar Reddy. Mr. Ravula Sridhar Reddy, your leader today, Mr. KTR was welcoming what has happened over here. But here's what the agencies are saying as far as this case is concerned. The ED in the past has said that Arvind Kejriwal gave false and contrary evidence vis-a-vis other members of his party. Contrary facts and records were there. When he was confronted with his own leader's statements, he called them confusing. So there is a case over here that the agency says in terms of the contradictions and the statements that have been given by Aam Aadmi Party's own leaders, Mr. Kejriwal even being called the kingpin, and perhaps the relief that's being sought by K. Kavita and Kejriwal. At the moment, of course, you're free to, of course, guess what the courts will do. But at the moment, the ED appears to be in a position to fight those matters.
ED and CBI will continue to fight. We're not saying that today. We welcome the decision, number one. Number two, the observations of the Honorable Supreme Court says it all. Bail is a rule and jail is an exception. And they made many other statements. It is kind of read between the lines where, just because ED or CBI is not able to complete the trial in the required time, they cannot detain a person indefinitely till the time what they want. So whether it is delay or on merits, the bail has been given with various observations. That why is BJP feeling guilty on this? If Aam Aadmi Party celebrates, one of their leaders has been released on bail, they might celebrate. What's the problem for BJP? And number two, Mr. Tushar is saying that this is not part of the judgment. Is the judgment given that they are guilty? Now, I have seen one of the BJP spokespersons, saying about any criminal can get bail. Are they criminals? They have not found guilty yet. The trial is still on. So BJP has a political vendetta. It clearly shows everything that Mr. Shehzad Poonawalla speaks or any other spokesperson of BJP speaks, it clearly shows the grudge, rather vendetta that they have on those who are accused in this particular case, whether it is Manish Sisodia or Kejriwal or Kavita. So we hope the justice prevails and the same thing will apply even on the bail appeal that was a bail plea made before the Honorable Supreme Court, even for Kavita Ji or Kejriwal Ji. From the day one, we are saying this is a case fabricated, no money trial, no evidence, nothing was found. Even then, just because the trial was not completed, even after filing the charge sheets, they have been under detention for a long time. It is denial of their basic rule, basic right. Hence, Honorable Supreme Court today taken a decision. And look at the observation. You cannot make a person run from pillar to post. This is a snake and ladder case. Don't you feel these observations are aiming at what? What are they trying to say?
Okay, these are observations. These are observations, nevertheless. But let me ask Shehzad. The last point I just want to quote from what the court has said, that ASG's contentions are self-contradictory, and they're referring to the timeline of the trial and the conclusion of the investigation that was assured in the past. I've referred to it earlier as well. But the court very clearly saying that there are self-contradictory claims that have been made by the prosecution. That certainly does not look good for the prosecuting agency.
Look, first of all, anybody who knows law knows that trial is not just a function of the prosecuting agency, it's also a function of the trial court. Tehseen Poonawalla comes and says that the ED conviction rate based on the 25 cases, the court started the trial. If the court doesn't start the trial in the remaining 300, 400 cases that charge sheets have been filed, how is the agency responsible for that? How is the executive responsible for that? But Tehseen won't answer that. He will just get away by making some kind of weird argument. He will say that POCA and IPC also now, the High Court judges can't be expected to give free and fair judgments. Right now I was saying PMLA is draconian. Now even IPC and POCA is draconian. Bhai Sahab, after conviction 5 times, Lalu Prasad Yadav has got bail. That is what Mr. Bittu was also saying, that criminals also get bail. Does that mean that because usko bail mil gaya, he's been guilt-free? And secondly, I want to ask the Aam Aadmi Party spokesperson now. Lalu Prasad Yadav has been convicted first time in 2013. Do you consider him to be corrupt? If you consider him to be corrupt, why is he with somebody who is a paragon of virtue like Arvind Kejriwal and Aam Aadmi Party? Can Mr. Joshi or Mr. Muni answer that question?
Piyush Joshi.
Get back to it. You know, do you consider Ajit Dada Pawar as guilty? Do you
no, as per your standard, whoever is not guilty by the courts is not.
Let him answer.
But you see the standard, the conviction of Lalu. Is Ajit Pawar convicted?
Please do not interrupt.
Is Ajit Pawar convicted? There's a difference between the two.
That's the point. They're not going to be convicted because of the washing machine charge. That's the point.
Lalu is convicted. The question is about Lalu. Don't escape from Lalu's question.
There are questions on all sides. Let him make his point.
Lalu is convicted. Nobody else.
Dr. Joshi. Dr. Joshi.
Just
conviction.
You asked a question, now have the decency to listen to the answer.
Sir,
right?
don't twist the answer to another question.
Let him make his point. Allow him to speak.
Convicted.
It's okay. You made your point. Let others also speak. Please. Yes.
Madhav, I'm making a very limited point. I can understand why the whole of the Delhi BJP and the national BJP is feeling a bit sore today, because the Aam Aadmi Party Delhi strength strengthened by the release of Mr. Manish Sisodia, because the Delhi government strength strengthened by the release of Mr. Manish Sisodia. A lot of administrative hassles are going to be solved now.
Make him chief
and
minister.
It is very, very clear. He's a strong leader. He's a strong leader. He creates a kind of energy within the volunteer, within the cadre. He has a direct connect with each and every volunteer of Aam Aadmi Party. So Aam Aadmi Party stands rejuvenated, and that is the cause of concern, because that can affect them in Haryana, and that is certainly going to affect them in the upcoming Delhi Vidhan Sabha elections.
Okay, will it make a difference? Okay, we are completely out of time.
Lalu is convicted.
You have asked a question.
Lalu was convicted.
It's okay. Shehzad, I have asked you and Tushar also certain questions, and you answered with other examples. Let's leave it there for the moment. Let's leave it there, because clearly this is a debate where people are watching, and certainly, of course, whether this will have a material impact on Delhi or not, as some of our panelists are observing, is something that we'll know when we go to the People's Court, or the political parties go to the People's Court next year. Thanks so much for joining us. In fact, I'd like to thank Dr. Piyush Joshi, as well as Akash Deep Muni, as well as Rahula Sridhar Reddy, as well as Tushar Gupta, Shehzad Poonawalla, Tehseen Poonawalla. Stay with us for debate number 2.